Underwriting deals is such a major pain point for people. Most don't want to do it, and the people that are good at it are few and far between. That is why after 6 years of being in the industry and buying over 1,200 apartments, using my best-selling multifamily deal analyzer, I created Real Estate Lab, a full suite acquisition software for multifamily investors. We have built a product that helps investors automate their acquisitions and close more deals, all in a cloud-based platform. You can go to realestatelab.com and sign up today using the promo code TAG2 for 10% off your first 12 months. This is David Tupin. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Apartment Guys, where we dive deep into all things multifamily investing. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower real estate investors to reach their highest potential. Each week, host Tate Seamer interviews high-level guests from all over the industry who are sure to bring valuable, actionable ideas that will propel your career to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, you are in the right place. And now your host, the Apartment Guy, Tate Seamer.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Apartment Gurus podcast. Chelsea Garber in the house with me today. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey, Tate. We're like fist pumping. That was an intro.
Yeah, just before our recording, we're like getting psyched up and fired up to share some good stuff with you guys. And it's a privilege and it's very exciting to us to have you listening and have you learning from us and our experience and knowledge. We just try to bring as much value to you as we can so that you can, really mobilize as you and your business to kind of get to the next level. And today we want to have a conversation about partners. And by partners, I don't necessarily mean partners like Chelsea and me or Carl and me. And, Carl and Chelsea and I are three partners that own Greenlight, operate Greenlight Equity Group. I'm talking more about like on a deal by deal basis partners. And I've always talked about I really encourage, this is a team sport, right? We talk about that all the time. And so having great partners is crucial in the multifamily space. But I always encourage people when they're starting out to not necessarily partner up on a long-term, every deal sort of basis so that you start your company with a partner kind of thing. That's not a horrible way to go. Carl and I did that, but Carl and I have been working together hard and intimately for, a decade at least. And so it was a natural fit for us and it's worked out really well. However, and then bringing Chelsea on has been a beautiful experience and, we're all the better for that. But even with Chelsea, Chelsea and I knew each other for how long do we know each other, Chelsea, before you kind of came on board with Greenlight?
It had to have been like a little bit over a year.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
And then for the first 6 months of kind of more like working together, meaning like sourcing deals, we weren't in a formal partnership at that point. We were still it was like dating. You're like getting to know the person and their company and vice versa. Like we didn't jump into anything quickly. I think we kind of organically took our time, which was really nice.
Right. And one of the best ways to date in this business is to do individual deals with someone. And so I really encourage people, you listeners, to take a look. This is really key. So take some notes here. Take a look at what your superpowers are or is, like maybe it's one or maybe it's a few, and look at what your resources are in this space, whether that's capital, whether that's relationships with brokers or relationships with lenders, whether that's expertise in underwriting, expertise in asset management, stuff like that. And take an inventory of those two things and then look at what your needs are based on what you don't have covered in your superpowers and your resources. And then you take that list of needs and you go out and you find partnerships that fill those needs. And anything that you don't have in this space is available in a partner. If you're great at finding deals and not so great at raising capital, which we're going to talk about today, there's a partner out there that is very good. And there's multiple partners that are. And if you are, if you're not good at underwriting, you're not great with spreadsheets and complexities with numbers and that sort of thing, again, there's a partner out there that is. And so knowing yourself and knowing your strengths and knowing your resources is key, because that's going to help you identify what you need in partners, right, Chelsea?
Yeah. And I think too, when you're identifying a partner or a team, maybe you're partnering up, not just a solo entrepreneur, but somebody who's already established a couple of folks on their team, is I would lean towards wanting to work with people that are a couple steps ahead of you in the business, meaning they've done a couple of deals, they have some experience. And I say that because it's, you go into a lot of these mentorship programs or meetings, and you're meeting people that are on the same level playing field, which is oftentimes getting started. And that's great. You should absolutely develop relationships with those people. However, developing a team starting from nothing without all the resources that you need, because you need a lot of resources to get a deal, not only, acquired and closed, but then to manage it. And even more so importantly than that, to even get to the point of acquiring it, you're going to have come with experience, like a sponsor or KP. So like Tate said, find out so far in your career path where you like to be. It's usually broken up in two categories. You're a deal finder or a capital raiser. And a lot of times they cross over, or everybody's a capital raiser in my mind. Find somebody who fits that counterpart that maybe, like Greenlight, for example, we might be really busy finding deals, but we haven't been working so much on capital. Well, if you've been working on capital and you don't have a deal, that's a perfect fit to come on to a team that is well established and a couple steps ahead of you, and you're going to gain, a first-class ticket to mentorship and growth, and be part of something bigger. And we've said this in probably every episode, is it's better to have, a bite of the watermelon than better to have
a slice of a watermelon than an entire grape. Yeah.
Than the entire grape, right? Because at the end of the day, you just want to get your first deal done typically. So bring value to groups that are more established. And I think that's something that is often overlooked.
Yeah. And, one great example is one of our good friends in Oklahoma City. I'll give him a shout out because I know he listens to every episode. His name's Qua, and Qua Carey. And, he found us through networking and through the podcast and other avenues. He heard about us buying properties in Oklahoma City. And he's just getting started, and he's very, very well educated in the space. He knows how to underwrite. He knows how to do great market analysis, great deal analysis, and he works his butt off. And they're still working on, he and his wife are still working on getting that first deal done, but he's established a really great alliance with us as a potential partner for him when he finds a good deal. And he's already brought us maybe 3 deals or 4 deals at this point, some of which had some promise, but didn't work out for whatever reason. Almost every time, I think it was in the underwriting that we weren't able to make it work. But he's provided a tremendous amount of value to us, because when he brings us a deal, he brings everything. He brings the underwriting, he brings the OM, and then he brings the market research and, all spreadsheeted out and everything. And he brings the deal analysis, the rent comp research. And he kind of just puts the deal out on the table for me in a way that's very easy to understand. And it makes it so it's very attractive to consider working with Qua. And, we're really excited about him getting his first deal and us hopefully being a part of it if he needs us. And, he's doing what Chelsea and I kind of wanted to talk to you about today, which is he leveled up in terms of who he approached to work with. He didn't approach a peer that's also trying to get their first deal done. He approached a team that has done, in our case, 7 large scale apartment deals with 3 in the pipe, and has experience with things that he doesn't have experience with. So, and he's leveraging us in such a way that he's not going to make critical errors and mistakes, but also he's leveraging our experience and our reputation in Oklahoma City. And it's extremely smart of him to be doing that. And besides that, we really like him. He's just a good dude, and is kind of a joy to work with. So yeah, Chelsea, you have any thoughts on that before we move forward?
No, I mean, I think it's something that everybody who's out there listening, who's looking for their first deal, should be just thinking a little bit differently of how they can get there. And that was a perfect example. And somebody, those are the types of people we want to align ourselves with. Right. And going back to, you don't have to do every deal together, but this is one deal is still a big deal. And you're going to be with that group of folks for the lifetime of the deal, whether that's 3 to 5 years or 10 years. So get to know these people, and you're going to learn things about them you may like or may not like, but that is part of, you're going into business. You're putting together a business plan, a business model, and you're executing, and treat it as such, and think a little bit bigger picture too of, not just how do I get my first deal done? Like you want to align yourselves with good people that you like to work with.
Right. It's such a relational industry. The commercial space, and especially the commercial multifamily space, is all about long-term relationships. And I almost said long distance relationships. In our case, it is long distance relationships sometimes when we're buying out of our state, but it's all relational. And it's, with a single family transaction, it's very transactional, right? You're either the buyer or the seller. You need a buyer or seller, and it's usually a one-off situation, and you kind of do the transaction and it's over. And like Chelsea said, in multifamily, you're typically holding on to that property for 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and sometimes longer. So these partnerships are long-term, and ideally they're such good partnerships that you like working together, you're succeeding together, and you're looking at future opportunities together as well. So on that, we just wanted to talk about kind of Greenlight's experience with partnering, and kind of how we've worked and leveraged other people. And I'll just say that, first of all, we found our sponsor, our key principal, through finding a deal, getting it under contract, and approaching this person. At the time, we didn't need a sponsor or somebody to sign on the loan necessarily. It was a smaller deal, and we could do it ourselves. But we approached him and just said, you know what, we have tons of respect for you, and you've got a ton of experience, and we would love you to just be a part of this deal, really as an advisor and as a consultant. And we offered him, I think 5% of the general partnership at the time to be an advisor for us, to basically just kind of be part of high level decision making and have his eyes on us and the deal, so that we didn't make any critical errors. And that person has since done 5 or 6 deals with us, is doing multiple deals that we have in the pipe with us, and has become really our key sponsor, our key principal, that brings the needed. You need 3 things to get a loan. As many of you know, you need a net worth equal to the amount of the loan. You need liquidity equal to 10% of the amount of the loan. And you need a resume that shows you have enough experience to do the deal. And that's usually a sponsor role, to bring those 3 things. And our sponsor was originally, again, we kind of took baby steps with him. We found a small deal, brought him as an advisor, and he's since leveled up with us and joined us in and greater capacity to get these deals done. And we love him, don't we, Chelsea?
Yeah, we're so lucky to have our sponsor, who we really consider our honorary fourth team member. And he's just there when we need him. And I will say that, kind of rewinding that, looking for a sponsor, I think, can be a little intimidating when you're first getting started, because you think, oh, like, this person's so far ahead of me and so successful. Like, why would they want to work with me? And I would challenge you to think of it a little bit differently, because now that we're sitting in the different seat, is that you're offering them potentially a really great opportunity if you're bringing them all of the pieces to the puzzle. Like, the sponsor, not to kind of diminish what they do, but they are, it depends from sponsor to sponsor, but the sponsor gets a really nice part of the GP, and some of them sometimes are much less involved and sometimes more involved. But sponsor makes out really good on these deals, and they do put a lot at risk, by signing on the loan and the balance sheet and all of that. But so don't be afraid to reach out to people who are successful, and maybe not the biggest multifamily investment firms, but look for the medium to small size firms that are successful, and maybe are doing deals in your market or whoever, and through reference. I've had so many people reach out in the last month or two asking, if Greenlight would be sponsoring deals. And I said, at the moment, we're not sponsoring deals outside of our current acquisitions. However, in the near future, it's something that we're going to be really excited about doing, because we want to be involved with the success of other deals outside of our own. And so it's, just, when it comes to finding a sponsor, make sure you just be honest with them. Like Tate said with Qual, bring everything to the table, be organized, be professional, and see this as a mutually beneficial partnership.
Yeah, so well said. So you may be asking yourself as a listener, like, how do I meet these people? And how do I recruit and bring on sponsors? And it's really not rocket science, guys. It's like, it's really not. It's about being in the space of commercial multifamily, both locally and nationally. And, locally, you can go to meetup groups and find out who's doing big deals. And look, one conversation leads to the next, leads to three conversations, leads to a conversation with a capital raising group or whatever. And it's just about being persistent and getting out there and talking to people. For us, first of all, to refer to our KP, our key principal or sponsor of the loans that we do, we knew of him through real estate investor associations. We have two real estate investor associations. I'm on the board of one of them. One's called the Salt Lake Real Estate Investor Association, or SLREIA, and the other is called Utah Real Estate Investor Association. So you want to find out, almost every city will have a REIA, Real Estate Investor Association. They're big now. And that is a wonderful source to meet people that are doing things, big things that you haven't done yet, doing them at a different level than you've done. And it's a great way to get educated, but more importantly, it's a great way to network and meet people. Nationally, Chelsea and I met at a national conference, is Michael Blanc's Dealmaker Live in 2019. So going on 3 years ago now. We're both there for the same reasons, right? Like, we wanted to learn and grow, but I think more importantly, we wanted to expand our network and bring in people into our network that were going to make big differences for us moving forward. And, we've said it dozens of times on the show, and you've probably heard it elsewhere. Your network is your net worth. And that's so true, because whatever you don't have, you can find in a partner. And that's really, like, if there's one key takeaway from this episode, maybe it's that, like, your network is your net worth, and the solution to any problem that might come up in a deal, getting a deal done, an obstacle to getting a deal done, is going to be in a partner or multiple partners. And so national conferences are big. And they're also, I would say, very mindset shifting, because you're in a room with, 400 to 1,000 people that are all up to the same thing as you, but a lot of them have done very well and are up to, high volumes of deals and that sort of thing. And then there's this, wealth of speakers and panelists that offer everything that they know to make you successful. So, there's 4 or 5 conferences that we either go to or consider strongly going to every year. If you want to email us or, reach out to us, we'd be happy to provide you a list of those. Tate@glequitygroup.com or Chelsea@glequitygroup.com. We're happy to provide that. There's those, right? There are online meetup groups that really came out of COVID. Everybody was doing in-person meetup groups until COVID started. And then people had to pivot and figure out how to keep the meetup groups going. And some people really capitalized on that and took advantage of the Zoom culture, right? Like Zoom was this new thing that everybody was figuring out. And our friend Brian Briscoe, for instance, he has a Friday noon or so meetup group that is full of big players and either high net worth people or deal makers or capital raisers. And you can find in that group really anything that you need. So there's
partners there. Yeah. We met Susie and Michael from Real Estate Adventures in Real Estate. They met them on the meetup. We'd always, go into the private groups or the break-off groups. We talk about our target market of Oklahoma, and we didn't formally talk about partnerships, but we got to know each other and like each other, and we saw each other at conferences. And so things are like, just because something's not happening maybe for you right away, I think, again, there's a lot of magic and happens by just showing up and continually showing up. So like Tate said, go to these live events, go to the group online events. There's so many tools on Facebook and LinkedIn with groups. You can plug in anything in there and you will get back so much information. So it's just a matter of putting yourself out there and stepping out of your comfort zone and, be willing to ask. Like it's okay to ask for things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just mention, I think just one other source for meeting great partners, and that is masterminds, paid masterminds, right? Like we're a part of at least one mastermind right now. I think it's maybe just the one, but we're part of Mr. Tim Brotz's mastermind called Legacy Family that I'll just give him a quick shout out. And that's a group of 200 to 300, 250 or so high level real estate entrepreneurs. It's not specific to multifamily necessarily, but there's lots and lots of multifamily people in there. And, we met our friend Gabe Brzezinski, Chelsea, through that mastermind, who has connected us with some great equity and debt sources. And again, like this is where it all happens. I mean, we wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for these relationships and these partners, like, either formal partners that are in our deals with us or informal partners that are, providing us groups like, equity leads and that sort of thing. One of our current partners, Mr. Benjamin, who's a part of our deal that we're about to close on Friday, I met at an online networking group, and he's bringing a lot of capital and investors to one of our deals that we're about ready to close. So, we're not just preaching this stuff, but it's like a critical part of our business is our network, right? Like, and our net worth, Chelsea's and my personal net worth and our business is expanding massively. Just in the next 6 months, we're going to double our assets under management, more than double our assets under management, which is, if you haven't heard of AUM, that's just a simple metric for the value of the real estate that you own. We're going to double that in really in the next 2 months, 3 months. And then we'll exceed even that moving forward. So, but it's really made possible through these great, powerful partners that we have. And, we're just super grateful for them. And we are constantly nurturing those relationships and doing our best to continue to expand and develop those. So good stuff, Chelsea. Anything further on partners? We didn't get into specific partners. We can maybe do that in the next episode, but anything in general on partnerships that you can think of?
No, I think we covered most of it here today. And, it just goes back to this being a team sport, and you'll look at the most successful people in this business down to the beginners. And I can pretty much guarantee you that almost everybody has a partner, and it might not be known on the internet, but if you dig a little bit deeper into, who's bringing some capital, there's often multiple capital raisers, or there's the main GP. So there's very rarely just one sole group getting a deal done. So it just goes to show that, these are partnerships, and it's to everybody's success and benefit, and develop these relationships early and just see where the road takes you. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You move on. You'll get to learn a lot about yourself and the people you're working with when things go wrong. And we can promise you that a lot of things are going to go wrong, and good partnerships will stick together and help you come up with solutions to problems as a team. And I think that's what really stands out as good partners. And we've been very fortunate to have good team players that we work with.
Yeah. And just to Chelsea's point, like, if you want to be a solopreneur, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I would encourage you to consider either being in single family or being a broker or a real estate agent or something like that. Because, I know tons of solopreneurs in the single family space, but I can't think of one in the multifamily space. And there's people that have their own investment companies. Corey Peterson comes to mind. He's with Kahuna Investments, and he and his wife are the principals there, but they partner on many, many, many of their deals, if not all of them, with great people and great partners. So it's not the space for being a solopreneur. There's just too much to do, and you have to do each piece well. And if it's just you, in my opinion, unless you work 20 hours a day, like, you don't have a chance of doing everything really, really well and being on top of all aspects of these transactions. Because guess what? After you close on the deal, there's asset management, and which we deal with all day, every day as well. And that's just something to consider. Like, there's getting the deals, there's getting the dollars, there's getting to the closing table, and then the most important things happen and start to happen, which is implementing that business plan so that when the rubber meets the road, you're hitting your metrics, you're getting your target rents, you're getting your target vacancy levels, and you're working very intimately with a property manager on those concepts. And just side note, if you're thinking about self-managing in this space, don't. From our experience, even just managing a property manager is a lot of work. And that's with a good property manager. If you have one that's maybe not so great, it is a ton of work. So yeah, just, takeaways like teamwork makes the dream work. Your network is your net worth. And, go out and meet as many people as you can. Be a QA. If you go back in the episode and listen again to how QA has done things as a aspiring investor and somebody that's going after their first deal, do what he's doing, and reach out to us for resources if you need to know where to go online to join meetup groups. Reach out to us. You can either email us or go to investwithgreenlight.com and reach us through that. And we're here to help you and contribute in any way that we can. So, Chelsea, awesome stuff. Thanks for joining me today and being such a great part of the Apartment Gurus.
Thank you. I'm excited. We've got a new logo in the works, and it's kind of going to then officially be official. So it's super exciting to be here and get to share the stage and just, tell a little bit of our story. So hopefully we can help everybody who's listening out on their journey. And, what we've made mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes, and, we're here to get through them together and hopefully save you from some mistakes. So that, thank you, everybody. And as always, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. So you made it to the end of another episode of the Apartment Gurus, which says a lot about you and your level of commitment to your business. So congratulations on taking this very seriously and looking to move the needle, as we always say on the show. So with that, we will see you on the next episode of the Apartment Gurus, and we look forward to it. So take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Apartment Guys with Tate Seamer. Tate and Friends are grateful to have you as a loyal listener. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe, rate, review, and share with friends on your Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. Also, check out Tate's YouTube channel for videos of many of these episodes and more. Until next time, take massive action steps and rock on.